Hello and welcome to our daily market review and analysis. I will try and combine the material we used for yesterday, which was on Wednesday, and also today's material. So yesterday we would have normally covered the yen currency pairs, and today we normally schedule to cover Canadian pairs. So those are the two groups we will look at. Yen pairs to some extent are all in very similar kind of a situation, so it won't involve a great deal of analysis on that one, other than that we're recognizing it has had its consolidation and most of them will be trying to retest a high or make a new minor higher high before we have a meaningful retracement. So let's begin. Dow Jones Industrial 30 in the last couple of days obviously has gone up quite strongly, and today it was more of a consolidation day for them, but still it finished up with a positive gain today. If you look at the RSI, then we have started to see a minor divergence forming on this 4-hour chart in this last sequence since this top here. So this vertical line that you saw me put a few days ago represents a minor wave 3 in bracket, wave 4 in bracket, and we are currently working on wave 5 in bracket. And within the wave 5 in bracket, we've already appeared to have wave 1 done and retracement wave 2, and I'm currently working on wave 3. It's not very clear on a wave 3. Originally we thought we might have a rising wedge pattern, but now it's clearly more like a parallel pattern. So I would suspect that we would see this. So for the time being, we are in a wave 3, and in the wave 3 we go minor 1, minor 2, minor 3, 4 and 5 nearly done. So maybe tomorrow we might actually retrace. Tomorrow we might retrace if this is nearly finished, for example. So I'll just go over again in the 4-hour chart. So looking for minor 1, minor 2 and minor 3, minor 4, perhaps 5. So if that's 5 wave sequence finish, then we should expect some pullback and then another high. And tomorrow we have a fairly important news data release regarding the US economy, unemployment rate and so forth, and also quite a few Canadian related data being also released regarding their interest rate, the inflation, and I think also their employment and so forth. So I would suspect that the market will be fairly volatile tomorrow. However, I think the equity index is still basically pointing neutral to upside bias rather than a major correction. That might happen sometime next week, but at the moment it looks like it is still continuing higher. Looking at the oil hasn't moved a great deal in the last couple of days. So this one you saw is a weekly chart. We dropped down to daily. You can see it's trying to bounce a little bit, so we would expect normally for a retracement of a move like this one by say some 50% or so retracement, and that would put the potential retracement of oil somewhere in this region, about 93, 90 to 94 possibly, in an ABC zigzag, and then we'll see another decline further. So oil seems to be a little bit out of sync, as we've explained in a previous session, and these things do happen sometimes where one particular asset group that normally supposed to behave like you would expect comparing with another group of instruments or a sector or a market, and then sometimes it falls out of sync and it begins to do its own little sequential movement, but then eventually it falls back again. So for the time being, we're still looking for oil possibly also to push higher as a part of a retracement, and that would fit in with the equity still continuing higher also. So at the moment they could well be in a sync, but they seem to be sometimes a little bit out of sync in the sense of oil coming down and equity market going up. But maybe tomorrow, next few days, we are expecting a bounce in the oil, so that is also synchronizing with the bounce in the equity index. And then we would expect dollar index to be weaker. So let us have a look at the dollar index. Now on the dollar index, you know, we've gone over this chart many times, and we have been expecting from the recent low back in February, we have been expecting a 5-wave move up, which is really as a result of this area being a flat correction in Elliott wave analysis term. And in a flat correction you get wave A, B and C to give you wave A in bracket, double bracket. Then you get another A, B, C zigzag down to give you wave B in bracket, and in which case is classed as a flat correction. So in a flat correction, the final leg C, happens to be 5 waves. So far it appears as though it's playing out. The only uncertain aspect of this is to identify exactly whether the 5 waves have finished or not. So looking at the move from the low, this one we have labeled as 1, and we are fairly happy with that, and this one as a 2. So subsequently we could say that this push up was a minor 1, minor 2, and then over here we could say this one was a minor 3, ABC expanded flash minor 4, and this being 5. So if that was 5, then that could be a wave 3. The alternate would be is that we got minor 1, minor 2, and then we got minor 3, minor 4 and minor 5, and then we wonder what all this one is. So in some way we're having to reconcile this. If you look at the RSI, then on the RSI this here appears to be lower than the previous one. So maybe we had this one originally, I don't know whether you remember some while back what we said, that this wave 1, then we had A, B and C, and what we did is we classed this one possibly as a running flat, this one as a running flat. So if that was a running flat, then these movements, these waves would move further up. Like so. This one, A, B and C, so wave 1, it is a little difficult, I think. Because now we would be really trying to curve fit, which is not such a good idea. Originally what we said, this was 1, this was a flat correction as a wave 2, and then after that we would have been expecting 5-wave move to the upside. So when we looked at this one, it didn't seem to follow, although on RSI basis this one is a low. So while the price is high, that could be wave 1, this could be wave 2, in which case we have to move this one here as a wave 1, this here as a wave 2, and it gets a bit complicated now because what we are now expecting is another flat correction, which goes wave A, B and C, so 1, 2, and then we should be expecting a 3-wave move to the upside. So then that would mean this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So on that basis this is what it might plan out. So that's 3, and then over here after this decline we should expect another move to the upside. Before finishing. So what this tells me is either the wave count we've labeled haven't been very accurate. So what we should expect then is that this being wave 1, this is 2, and then you got 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this being 3. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that gives you 3. Retracement 4, and then wave 5. So in retracement 4 looks like we've got a wave A already in with a probably 5 wave to the downside. So over here 5 wave to the downside, so we should now expect some retracement like this, and then another leg down like so. So the two possibilities is that this being 1, this being 2, and the top we had today is wave 3, retracement A, B and C for 4 over here, and then one final leg up. Okay, so then our top would still be expected over here. Whether we will get that tomorrow or next week, that's a little difficult to tell, but that would work. And the other alternative would be is that we had this one here as a wave 1, this one as 2, and in which case we would have said 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So wave 3 would have been here, this would have been 4, but it looks too small for 4, you know, in comparison to the rest of them, look too small for 4. And then you expect a wave 5. So if it's a wave 5, then this here almost completes it, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So then this one becomes A. So what is this then? So that's what I couldn't really reconcile. So for the time being, somehow I think either the dollar has already topped with today's high, or we would get this ABC retracement down and then a final leg up to actually complete it. Now that, in a way, that makes a better sense, because the Canadian dollar needs something similar. And secondly, see, we had a wave 2 here which fell outside of this rising trend line, overshoot or undershoot as it were. Then we could have the wave 4 do the same and then go up. So that would then make much better sense. So we'd have the basic triangle or basic trend line channel, rising channel, containing bulk of the price with the exception of this little bit here and wave 2 and wave 4. Okay, so if that happened, then we have on the top a falling red trend line, which, as you know how we drew it this way, connecting this high on the weekly chart, and then copy pasting that on this spike high, which came into being or came into effect in high in July rather, and we are coming back into that again. So if you look at a 4 hour, then that's where it is coming. So I think there is still possibility the minor high on dollar index, or somehow in this one here, is finished. And if it is finished, then I'm not sure how this final wave comes out. If you work it backward, then you can say this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so maybe we've had it this way. So this one is a 1, this is 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so if I now contrast that by just putting this trend line on rather than change all the numbers, so there are two possibilities. That's what I'm trying to point out. So one possibility would be is that we had a wave 1 here, then wave 2 to there. So wave 1, wave 2, and then in the wave 3 we got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's finished wave 3 at this level, and then we've got, but this retracement doesn't look right, so this has to be wave 3 here. So wave 3 is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, retracement 4, and then this one here somehow 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. It's not ideal, but anyway, basically overall I'm quite happy that either in some way, even though we are somehow mistaken here, in some way we have a top in today and we have a strong impulsive leg down on 4 hour, which when you look at the small time scale, it's actually 5 minor 5 internal waves. So we should either expect a small retracement, another leg down and then leg up, or we would expect a small retracement and then basically continuing straight down. So and if you compare that with the euro, then with the euro it almost look like we already have a bottom in euro, so we have a top in dollar index. We will retrace that partially and then we would simply break down. So either is possible, and then tomorrow is not going to be helped regardless of how accurate we are in this analysis, because tomorrow's market is going to be very, very volatile anyway. We have, as I say, quite a lot of important news, and in particular the employment data from US, and then we have similar data and inflation and few other bits from Canada. So expect either dollar to have topped or small retracement, another one minor drive high, but nothing significant. Okay, and then that will complete this 5 wave to the upside, and also the price currently contained within this rising trend channel will break down, and that would be the signal that we have a new move to the downside, new trend developing to the downside. And it's possible that whilst this is being formed out and we get another minor higher high in the dollar index, currencies like a euro and pound may continue to strengthen, and it might be that we might get a weakness on currencies like Canadian dollar, Swissy, and Swedish krona, and possibly yen, particularly yen, because yen is still continuing to remain very, very weak. So it's quite possible that as a result of yen weakness and Swedish krona and Canadian weakness, we might get dollar index actually do another high that we need, during which time a euro could also spend a little bit of time retracing some of the move up of the low today. So that's a dollar index. So we're expecting either dollar index to have topped, or we're expecting dollar index to make a retracement, zigzag down, and then another higher leg, and then coming down. So let's now go over the yen pairs, which is currency pairs we should have looked at yesterday. I won't spend a great deal of time, but we'll look at the US dollar yen. Now the US dollar yen, just to cast your mind back, we've got this major trend down coming in, which finished off with a falling wedge. Historically, if you look at the structure, then this area we had a previous support and resistance in that region, and we are more likely to come back into that. That's around about 98.50. So if you round it up, 98.50, so 98 to 99, or even 100. If we come right up to here, we could have 100. So it's possible that we could continue coming up, and that appears to be fairly important area, because you see here, so we had see we had quite an important bounce here and a bounce there again, and then when we fell through, eventually we came back to retest it from underneath. So that's approximately 101. Okay, so it's 101 or 100 could be a good area for potential conclusion of this cycle up. And the cycle up we are talking about is right from the low here. We had a wave 1, you know, on a main degree we go to wave 1 in double bracket, wave 2 in double bracket, then in the wave 3 we go wave 1 in single bracket, wave 2 in single bracket, and then we started counting 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in that sequence we appear to have these minor Roman numeral 1 in bracket, 2 in bracket, 3 in bracket, 4 in bracket, and we are now concluding this 5 in bracket. That 5 in bracket will finish up with a wave 3 in a normal number somewhere in that area. And also if you note that we have a rising pitchfork and we are going to be coming fairly close to testing that upper parallel of the rising pitchfork, and since the 4, which has been very difficult to actually even understand in a sense that we had this wave 3 here, then we had wave A, B, C up as an expanded flat, so wave A, wave B, and this sharp sell-off was wave C. Exactly where the wave C finishes is still somewhat unclear, because you know, wave C, is it 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in some way as potential ending diagonal, or is this just simply A, B, C to the downside? That's the difficult part, because we have a low here, we have a fairly sharp rally up, and that sharp rally up, if you look at it, is quite impulsive. So maybe somehow what we got is the low was the end of wave 4, I think. So wave 4, let me just, okay, so wave 4 is this here. So I think this bottom here is where wave 4 finished. Then what we have to reconcile is what have we got subsequently. So subsequently looks like we have a wave 1, then all this here is a wave 2, maybe up to here, A, B, C down is a wave 2. Then we've started in a new cycle. New cycle, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 possibly. So this one coming into here like that, 5, something like this. So we had wave 1, wave 2, and then we got in this one here we got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the leading diagonal. So we got 1, 2, 3, sorry, leading diagonals wave 1, then in a wave 3 we got 1, 2, we're still going on to wave 3. So in other words, the US dollar yen, I think, is going to continue quite a bit higher yet. We will have this here possibly as 1, which I'll put in as Roman numeral 1. Okay, so then after that we'll have this one here as 2, and then in third one we've got 1, 2, we've got 1, 2, and in coming into here 3, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 possibly. So somehow 3 there, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and in which case we would expect this one to top here, come down for 4 and then for 5, and that would complete 1, 2, then go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in that case we would then need another correction and another leg up. So that would then complete 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that gives us 3, 4 and 5. So really speaking, this is what we're expecting now on US dollar yen, so that we've got this here as wave 3. Then we should expect another retracement and final leg up. So it's quite a bit to go really. If you look at it, this is what's going to be. So I think we'll be looking at, you know, this kind of a development. Like that. So we started off with 1 and 2, and then we got wave 3 here, which is 1, 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this 3 will go over there, and then we'll have wave 4 over here, and then final leg 5, and that will complete that 5 wave, which will also complete this wave 3 for the US dollar yen. Okay, so I think basically quite a bit of higher prices to come, and maybe if you want to be guided by some kind of a trend channel, then quite possibly this could be possible trend channel to contain the price of that wave 5. Okay, and in terms of the targets, is somewhat difficult, but maybe what we could do is we could use this one and do the reverse fib on there. So we take out all these unnecessary bits, and we can change the color to say green. Okay, so I think probably 97 is probably where wave 3 is going to finish, and then as I say, after that wave 3 we should get a fairly deeper pullback, and then final leg 5, and the final leg 5 then could actually take the price all the way to what we just were expecting, around 100. And I think 100 will be almost like a magnet. It will be round figure magnet, plus the fact where we just drew that we have a potential horizontal support structure, previous support now becoming resistance possibly, and from which then you would expect this US dollar yen to correct a lot more. So for the time being, I think we will continue zigzagging up to possibly in the region of 97 before coming down. That's the dollar yen. If you look at euro yen, then euro yen started off from the low here. See, we put low there. So in that we've got this 1 and 2, and then we've got like a rising wedge 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that completed wave 1 in Roman numeral single bracket, wave 2 in Roman numeral single bracket, and then the sharp channel up completes a wave 3 in Roman numeral. Okay, completed wave 3, and then we should have this wave 4, just like the euro, just like the US dollar yen, and in which case we would expect similar development. Okay, so in here this current leg up is identical to the one we just looked at in the US dollar yen, and we'll be looking to take out this high, and we're going to get a 5 wave up in exactly the same fashion. It's a very similar sort of development. Starting off from the bottom, it is almost impossible to count these waves, but I think somewhere in there is we have possibly rising wedge, and therefore in that rising wedge we've got 1 and 2, and then we're in a wave 3, and within wave 3 we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in that particular kind of manner. So I think with this one we should be taking out the last high and maybe making a new higher high. If you look at it on larger time scale, then we've got this rising upper parallel of the rising pitchfork is probably also going to come into play. We might even do an overshoot, like we've already done one overshoot over here. And in terms of the levels, we might need to apply some different percentages. So 200 has been already passed, so if we put 2.382, that's passed. So really I think the best thing to do is put 2.618. Okay, so that already been tested. So the next one I think we could put in there is 300 and a range expansion of 300. Where does that come? Oh, disappeared somewhere. Why is it disappeared? Ah, that's why. 3. Okay, so that comes in around 131, 132. So my feeling is that the euro will complete a 5 wave to probably around 128, and then from 128 we will do a retracement wave 4, and then another leg up higher, wave 5, which could very well take it to 132 or so, 131, 132 area. So basically there is still quite a bit of room up, but even in the current cycle you've got a similar sort of room as in US dollar yen for euro yen. And euro yen, if euro relatively is stronger and has put a bottom in, then I think it can actually fly high. This one can go quite a bit. We don't really be past here now, you see. So really once we pass that, which is where the current high is, we've got nothing until we get to here, 38 or something, maybe even almost like up to 40. So I think the euro yen is going to continue much higher than the US dollar yen, because US dollar will be weakening against the euro. So basically there's still a lot more to go, and intermediate high is probably going up to around about 27 to 28, then a retracement wave 4, and then another leg higher which will take it to possibly like 135, 136, maybe even, as I say, come all the way down to 140, 155, because the wave 5. So wave 1, wave 2, all of this part of wave 3, and within that wave 3 we're looking for completing this last leg to complete the wave 3. Then we get wave 4, and you might not even come down all the way to here. You might do relatively shallow retracement like it has been doing, and then launch forth in the major wave 5 to the upside. So euro yen still a long trade, and we can utilize the strength of the euro against one of the other currencies. So we'll leave the yen pair for euro. Okay, maybe another yen pair we could trade. Maybe you could trade US dollar yen, but to maximize the strength of the euro, we're looking for trading potentially euro against Aussie dollar. Canadian yen is exactly the same. Canadian yen also is finishing wave 3, maybe it's already finished wave 3, coming into 4, and now we're progressing into the wave 5. See, from here we had a wave A, again now wave B, and then subsequently minor A, B, and we're working on a leg C. If it works out, then is a wave 1, wave 2, all of this is the wave 3, 4 and 5. So I think for Canadian it is more closer to finishing its top, but it is currently moving, and it may be that this current move up will actually end, potentially end the wave 5 sequence by the time Canadian yen hits something like 95 to about 97. At this moment in time, 95 to 97. Can't be sure, but we will wait for some of these, or we might simply just take out the previous high and fail on CAD yen. Other than that, it is in a similar shape or retracement type. Everything is very similar to like euro, for example. Pound yen has a retrace in a fairly nice clear downtrend, which could be described as possibly A, B and C wave X, another A, B and C down, but whatever it is, we have finished that decline, and you can see it was relatively deep and it's come back toward the middle of the rising pitchfork median, and we are now, having established that wave 4, we have started moving up in again a final wave. See here we got 1 and 2, then you got 1 in parallel, 2 in parentheses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we need to move this here. This one and euro is going to be very similar. This one is wave 3, so this retracement wave 4. Then what we will expect now is like that. So this one will complete wave 3 and then we'll come back for wave 4. This is 3 and like so. So this is 4 and we're going in for 5, which will complete a wave 3. So we'll finish with 1, 2, 3, retracement 4 and then final leg 5. So that's an outline for pound yen. So currently it looks like this is going to be picking up, and especially if the pound has bottomed against the dollar, then I think this leg is going to continue along with the euro yen. Then Swiss yen is almost same as the euro yen, except we've had basically A, B and C in a nice downtrend channel, which has now been broken back up, and we're moving to complete the same cycle. Then we have Aussie yen. Aussie yen again retraced, and see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so that completed wave 3. So this one has a same structure as the Canadian yen, in that we got 1 and 2, 3 finished, 4 retracement done, and we are now looking to go up in wave 5. So for CAD yen and Aussie yen, I don't expect it to actually have much higher potential as we just saw in US dollar yen and euro and pound yen. Okay, but in Aussie yen, I think we have finished wave 4 and we're looking to go for wave 5, after which we should see fairly deep retracement. And in terms of the exact magnitude, we don't know, but it's quite possible they go 5 wave up, so we'll see a large A, B and C, and it's quite possible that we could do a retracement of the entire move up. We haven't got the top yet, so we don't know exactly where, but if it was anywhere around 101 or 100, then we'll be looking for deep retracement of A, B and C, and we may in that case come well back to somewhere about 90 or even a little bit lower, 88. But for the time being, it is heading up, and most likely 100 to 101 is the likely area where Aussie yen is going to top out. And then New Zealand yen. See, New Zealand yen, they fell down in 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, or is possibly A, B and simply C. Okay, so 1, 2, and then this 3 comes in over here somewhere. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So this could finish up like this, like that somewhere. Then we have A, B and C with 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, A, B, C. Okay, so after that we've got A, B, and I think we are working on that wave C, and in that wave C we've got 1 and 2, then you got 1 in parentheses, 2 in parentheses, 3 in parentheses, 3 in parentheses, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we have 3, 4 and 5, so I think we'll have to move them. So this top is being 3, then we get a retracement 4, with 4, and then here we get a wave 5, which also then completes this wave 3, and we should get then a retracement like that, possibly, and then wave 5 like so. Okay, like that. So in there we've got wave 1, 2, then all of this to 3, and currently we are in the process of finishing that wave 3, the last leg, ABC decline for wave 4, and then finally leg 5 for New Zealand yen. So it would look like with normal retracements along the way, yen will probably remain fairly weak across the board with all currencies for quite some time to come. And also you'll remember that finance ministers in Japan, they were looking at pumping up the Japanese Nikkei index almost 10% up from where it is now, and they said they have to do everything they can for the Nikkei index to get there. So Nikkei index will then finish up around 13,000 or something, which would mean that the Nikkei index have correlation with US dollar yen, in which case they move both similarly. So if there is going to be such a rise in the equity index, Nikkei index, then you can imagine US dollar yen will continue rising for a while, and then if the dollar is weak against the euro and pound and Swissy, then some of those currencies probably got a lot more mileage in against yen still left compared with the US dollar yen. Okay, so we'll go back to the other one. Oh, we were going to the yen. So now we go over quickly for the Canadian pair. In the Canadian pair, the Euro CAD, we've been looking for potential long entry. Now the long entry may well have actually triggered here, but it was very difficult because when we were looking at it, we were almost below that minor rising trend line in brown. But it looks like we were looking for a bottom in that area. That's why we put this shaded area here as a potential zone for bottoming. But when you look at the wave up, it's not very convincing that this is an impulsive move. And I think the only part of the impulsive is this first leg up here as one. Then we've got wave A, then we've got this expanded flat, wave A, then we've got A, B and C as the expanded flat, and then coming down in A, B and C to make a low. So we've got wave 1, wave 2, and this is wave 3. Within the wave 3 we go minor 1, minor 2, minor 3 done, currently 4, probably one more drive up will give us that minor 5, and in which case we will end up with 1 and 2 and 3. So if it is 3, it will come down a little bit and then do another leg up to complete that 5-wave sequence. Okay, once the 5-wave sequence is done, then I suspect a little bit more deeper retracement, and then simply taking off from here like so. Okay, so it's going to be like that. So essentially, while this one look kind of a strange shape, but I think what's going to happen is we are creating like deep cup, or like a saucer. It's not a saucer, like it's like a bowl, but you know, if we for example do this here, we come up there like that, and then it does a retracement to some sensible level, which I think I can say like this one. Then effectively what you've got is like this one here is a separate shape, but this one definitely like a cup and a handle here, so it will be like a that kind of a shape, very bullish. And because we've already seem to have bottomed here, we need to either enter on this retracement, or we wait for it to go up, test this falling trend line, and then retracement, and then by that time you'll have a retracement as a potential area of support where you can put your stop just below, or maybe below the last swing low here. And I think this will start looking very symmetrical once we got some more price fill in there. And in this case, this downtrend line has already held. Okay, we may even get a wild swing with this, because Canadian pair, you know, sometimes do seem to run a lot. You know, we might even get something like this. So there we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So it's a 5-wave sequence finish, ABC down back to this brown rising trend line support, and then really launching off. So we'll get 1, minor 2, and then we're going to go up. Okay, so EuroCAD potentially in a long entry, but ideally you want that EuroCAD now to go and test this falling trend line and then do a retracement, whether it comes all the way here or the retracement happens to be a little bit shallower like so. Either case, there is potential long entry available, and it's just a question of finding a time period lower than a 4-hourly chart and then entering. If you enter right now, you might still remain in there, but you know, for quite some time you'll have to leave your stop just below this last low here. So that happens to be like 157 or 160 pip, which is a bit larger than I would like to have. So the better would be for it to let it go up to this red line, maybe breach that, or just test it and then do a retracement, ABC zigzag, and then where the low is, if that low happens to be in this area, then you have an extra conviction in your analysis, because we have a potential support, resistance now broken up, could become a support again from which to launch up. So then your stop can be just below here. Okay, or once you have the low, then maybe some decent space below that particular low, with a view of then rising that for, you know, quite a profitable trade, because that will be like a larger degree wave 5. You go wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, interestingly triangle, and then we'll be looking to break up. So this can then run EuroCAD, could easily go to like 140, 141, 143 as a possible area. And if you look at it horizontally, then this is the area I'm talking about, 143. So this one can begin to really run. 133 I think seems an immediate target. There's nothing really in between in terms of resistance in that case. Okay, so EuroCAD almost ready to enter long, just a question of finding a right place after a reasonable pullback to enter with relatively safe stop loss. Pound CAD, very mixed up chart, and this kind of chart is almost, you know, too much for eyes. But if you look at it on a 4-hour, then it's not so bad. On a 4-hour, we've had this bottoming action, which we think is a is a very gentle minor falling trend line, falling trend channel, but within it we got a falling wedge, and it is made up of this being 1 and this crazy looking expanding wave 2, then you go wave 3, 4, and that low was 5. So since the low we had over here, since that low we've got 1, 2, possibly 3, A, B, C as a 4, and then final leg up as a 5. So that means we've got a 5 wave up, then we got A, B, C down, okay, and then we've got A, B, C down. So after that, A, B, C down as the wave A, then we got wave A, B, C up as a wave B, and then this one coming down as a wave C. So we've got an expanding flat like this one. Okay, so we've got like that. Like that. So we were outlining a potential long entry, and long entry, didn't happen at the area we expected. It actually happened much lower down, and in that case it was better because our stop loss can be fairly close. Okay, so I think what we have is we have a wave 1 up, A, B and C is a very crazy expanding flat wave, so that could be the bottom. So it could be wave 1, wave 2, and then we are working on the next cycle up as a wave 3. Within the wave 3 we've got wave 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So wave 1, this retracement is wave 2, and then this shot up is the next one, and this is 2. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out, but we need a pound CAD to seriously break to the upside and not just keep trading sideways. If it is trending sideways, then the wave counts are very, very unclear. Otherwise, I'm expecting now this to be 1, this to be 2, and then we start off with a whole sequence 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which is really, this is 1, this is 2, and then the, as part of a 5 you got 1, 2, and so you got series of 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we should really start making very strong steep up leg on the pound CAD. But I think it has already bottomed. That's the key fact on the pound. Then after that we have a Aussie CAD. Now the Aussie CAD is a little bit confusing, so I'm not entirely sure, but you see we were coming from the left, top left, then we did some kind of ABC up here, so I'm calling that larger wave A. So it's possible that here we might have actually come from the bottom up and that, okay, so but we don't have the price data. That's the only problem. So regardless of that, I think this coming down is a clear A, B and C. Then we've gone back up, and I think there's no clear A, B and C in there with the RSI pointing where it is. I'm labeling that as wave X. So we had A, B, C, wave X, and then another A, B, C. So it's a double zigzag with a connecting wave in between. Now we are making a wave. So we've had that A, B, C as a double zigzag with a wave A. Then we want now A, B and C to the wave upside with a wave B, because wave B will be a retracement of this double zigzag. So we are already close to that, and we may well have topped, or we are very close. If you look at that element, then we got wave A, wave B, and we got wave C in rising wedge. So that means the pattern to the upside has finished here, and at least we should be getting a retracement back to 50% or thereabout. Okay, so in essence what we have draw another one. Okay, so what we have is potentially that. So we could finish up with this one coming down like that, because we had this A, B and C as an ending diagonal, wave A, B, C back as a flat, wave B, and we should be in a 5 wave move to the downside, which will bring us to at least 94, more likely about about 90, 0.9 or 0.94. Okay, so 90 or 94 is an area up to where we should be expecting a 5-wave move to the downside as a minimum, and then what kind of wave we get, we'll see what maximum potential there is. But if you look at this in a monthly chart, then I'm expecting this to come down to at least this sort of level, then head up for the next leg up to complete. That could be a while to come. Okay, because we're expecting that to be around first quarter in 2014 to probably about July to October 2014. So I still see this one is going up, then these are a bit steeper lines, so let me just make them a little bit gentler. Okay, so we'll be coming in, come on mouse, we'll be coming in like that. Okay, and then making a final leg up, and then after that we'll be looking for a real sell-off. So both Aussie and New Zealand Canada is looking like it is correcting for part of the move up, and then it might then go back and run to do the new top. Aussie CAD, this is the New Zealand CAD, exactly the same. New Zealand CAD, unfortunately, is we've got this rising wedge, and then price history I don't have it here, on another chart I have, but the very fact this is the rising wedge, so we've got wave A, or 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and within the 5 we've got 1 and 2, and then we are currently working on wave 3. If you drop down to say daily chart, then you got this rising wedge is wave 1, so you got wave 1, 2, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which either is finished today or it might finish on Monday. Okay, and then after that we get a retracement. So what we got is a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, but that will complete 1, 2 and 3, and then we come down for wave 4, and the wave 4 in general term mustn't pass beyond here. Beyond there. Okay, and then we'll be looking for heading back up like so. So New Zealand CAD is going to be weaker for a short while, then it will strengthen up against the Canadian dollar. So that's that one, and then this is the CAD yen, and CAD yen is in a very similar sort of situation to other yen pairs we looked at, i.e. retracement 4 and going up for 5. So those are all the CAD yen pairs. So that now asks us to go back onto this other chart, and we can conclude this fairly soon. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Remember yesterday I was saying what is all this? So what it could be is a complex sideways correction, and in this one in 5 ways, go wave 1, wave 2, then we go wave 3, this is 4, and then what we might have here possibly is 1, 2, and then we'll have another leg up. But I think then we are expecting this to go up for a lot longer. Otherwise we might have this as the 1, this as 2, then this is 3, and then basically we've got running flat. If it's running flat, then I think what I just explained will hold, because if this is 1, this is 2, get 3, 4 down, 5 up, basically like so. Okay, and that would complete this leg up. But also on the RSI, you see now on daily chart, we've got a clear divergence with the current price being higher than the high on the RSI. So there may still be a bit more room on a dollar CAD, but I don't think much more, and quite possibly we may even have the top in. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this being 5, in which case this would have coming down is 1. We're going to get A, B and C to the upside. So this is alternate. The alternate ones I'll put it in a red color. So here we might have, for example, okay, and this one actually then will come down a lot more. So my preference is that we got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 already done. Then we got 1 done to the downside, 1 done, okay, retracement A, B and C up, and then coming down. So that's the one that I favor. Okay, that's the one I'm currently favoring. Basically sell off from there. So in that case, it would appear that the dollar index has already got the top based on the Canadian dollar. If this is the case, then the vertical line I'm putting here is actually the top, and then rest of the part is actually a part of a new downtrend. So Canadian dollar could well have topped today. And similarly, we've got pound dollar. Pound dollar, as you can see, after this major sell-off we had, which appears to be in a zigzag form, is A, B and C to give you W, wave X, and then again we have A, B and C. Okay, and if you look at that, then we go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 as the wave A, wave B, and then this last leg down today as a wave C. So we looks like that one is already bottomed, and we should be beginning to make our progress to the upside. And for quite some time we were talking about a pound bottoming out, and it's almost unbelievable when you see day after day after day you lower highs, and you don't really know where it's going to finish up in the end. But from the general area, plus the fact that we had this minor downtrend channel coming into play, and also some fib, what fib did I have now? (78%) retracement of this leg up comes into that area. In fact, doesn't quite get there. Is a little bit, as you can see on the there, that 78% bit lower down, but we have other fib confluences there in addition to this trend line, and also associated divergence on the RSI. We have a divergence between this low and that low, and even in the shorter term we have a potential divergence to the upside, whereas the price is making lower low, RSI is trying to curl up. And based on the RSI, if you put a minor trend line, then any further action tomorrow will probably suggest that we have a trend line break to the upside. So by then I think the price will be really beginning to make headroom. At the moment it is almost still uninspiring after the gap down, not gap down, sorry, after this move to the downside. Bank of England made a rate decision saying that they are holding the interest rate, and the quantitative easing is going to remain where it is, and it won't be increased, or pound is not likely to be deliberately devalued in any way. And therefore, whilst that happens, this gap on an intraday is very difficult to see a gap, but this one happened as a gap up. So maybe what we've got is minor 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I think 5 wave sequence to the upside is done, we are now doing A, B and C, which might also be done, and we could be looking for building up. So basically for pound, I think the bottom is in, and we should be on decent price action. We should be looking to go long on the pound. And where it is now, the safe area to enter is, if you enter exactly where it is now, then potentially your stop can be here about 50 pip away. And otherwise what we could do is we could put a stop buy order around 150.80 for example, and then put a stop just below the current low here, and there you'll have about 80 pip or so stop loss, with a view of it going back up there to test. So there is some room for it to actually run up, and we could establish a long position or use the pound to trade other currency pairs like the pound New Zealand or pound Australian, based on the fact that pound is bottom, and therefore it should be beginning to gather relative strength against most of the other currency pairs, with the exception of euro and pound, euro and Swissy. So those are the only two currencies against which the pound might not actually gain a lot. Otherwise pound should be gaining against some of the others. So that's pound. And then finally Canadian pair. Sorry, that's a gold chart. Euro chart, sorry, not Canadian, euro. Now euro, as you know, I've showed you how I've drawn this trend line here, which connects this low back in January last year, and then this high we had in June 2012, and then this double bottom, okay, that's in October of 2012, and we've come back right into it, and we have Fibonacci retracement, which is just a little bit lower down, 50%. We have this area, this dotted line is effectively a support line of the January and February, March of 2012, and we've come right back into that area. So there's several things helping us to consider maybe an area for potential bottoming in there. And now what we have is two possible scenarios. The one scenario would be is that we've got, regardless of these labels are put on here, one scenario is that we've already got W, X, Y, X, and we will go for a Z, which will mean the triple zigzag. And if this leg is going to be similar to this one, then we are looking at potentially around 140, 141. Okay, so as you can see, this one here is exactly the same length, like so. So if I was now to apply that on here, you can see it come to 148, 140, 50 to 141, 140. If you round it up, say call it 140. 140 is where we are looking for this next leg. So that's one possibility. We'll finish with triple zigzag. So we'll finish with W, X, Y, X, Z. Okay, before we get another deep retracement. Otherwise, we've got A, B, and C. We have a wave X, and we get another A, B, and C. So in that case, we would get potentially wave A. We change the color of that to say brown. Okay, so here we've got wave A, then we get wave B, and then we get wave C. Okay, then after that we get a wave X, and then we see another A, B, and C before we get a sell-off. Sell-off means not coming back to retest the July low of last year, but a retracement of the whole lot. Okay, so we could get a double zigzag, A, B, and C, to give you this A, B, and C. Then you get X, and you get another A, B, and C to the upside. Or we get triple zigzag, which is simply W, X, Y, X, Z. Either way, we are expecting prices to continue higher. If this is the bottom and we finish the wave X, then we should be going up there to about 140 area. So in preparation for that, this first leg up is very strong and impulsive, but we have run into this potential declining trend line. So if the price holds, and say for example it does a small retracement and then it breaks out, then I think we do have a new trend to the upside, and we should then be also, you'll see it looks like an inverted head and shoulder, with this being the head, this being right shoulder, and we will pull back and create that shoulder on the right hand side, and then price will start running to the upside. Okay, so in that case, I think the euro has already bottomed. We should be really making strong move to the upside. If we don't, then we might have to review, because alternate would be that this one forms with A, B and C. We might get A, B and C back up, and then we'll see another one down. Okay, so we could then that could be A, this could be B, and we might see wave C up here. When that finishes, then we might see another leg down like that. So that could be the other possibility, but I think chances are that we've actually seen the bottom here, and we should be really making a move to the upside now to retest this previous low, previous high in February, and maybe making a new high to around 38 140 area. So that is all. There isn't anything else really. We've covered most of the pairs we wanted to cover. Only other thing is on a Euro USD, sorry, Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie has come into here very perfectly. Is we got 100 period moving average coming into that. We've got these rising trend channel lines, prices come back into the baseline, plus horizontal area where we are expecting a support. And then if you see the RSI, the short-term trend line looks like it has already broken on daily chart. So we are potentially in an area for trade to the upside. We just need the price to break through here, and then we're ready to go. So far we may already have like 1 2 3 4 and 5, so we're going to get a small pullback, and then we should see another little higher up, after which we will get a little bit more deeper pullback, and then we'll be ready to start making real move to the upside. So I think this pair also is ready to go long. We just need a clear understanding where we're going to enter. We have this downtrend channel, so we want the price to go break above that. We want it to come back down as a retracement, and that would be the trigger to go long, assuming that it doesn't leave us behind and just keep heading up. But based on the chart so far, it looks like we've got wave 1, wave 2, this is 3, small retracement wave 4, and then we should get another leg higher up to complete the 5-wave sequence, after which we get this retracement. That's the one when we can enter long. Okay, so hopefully on the retracement back towards something like 127 40 or so, we should be able to enter long, maybe 127.50, otherwise 127.40, and we can then simply use a stop below whatever the low that happens to be. But initially on the short term time frame, 1 hour, we're expecting maybe a small up but a small retracement, and then another leg up, and then retrace. That's the one. Once you retrace it the second time, that's the one we will be looking to go long. And by then, on this hourly chart, you'll see this 100 period moving average coming in. Eventually it will start bottoming out like so. okay, it will bottom out, and I think this is what it will look like. Like so. And basically we'll be looking to go long. So if this trade doesn't materialize tomorrow, I think next week most certainly it will. Might even give you a trigger tomorrow to enter long, and should be profitable. Okay, so that is all from me for the time being. Thank you very much. Hope some of these are helpful to you, and then tomorrow if you join me, we will go through the US dollar pairs, and also confirm if the dollar index by then has topped or not. Okay, so in the meantime, enjoy the recording, enjoy the trading. You know, don't expect that you've missed the trade and so you have to chase the price. Wait for a decent pullback or recognizable pullback, at least using 4-hour or an hourly chart, and then enter long with an acceptable stop loss. And we should have new trend developing, but then tomorrow being Friday, so, and also a lot of volatility that is likely to be associated with the financial data being released tomorrow. So you know, you might find that maybe tomorrow you give it a miss, and then probably from next week you start hunting for those trade in the Euro Aussie, and also some of the pound pairs we looked at. They could be useful. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. I'll stop the recording here and post it out to you as usual.